Hello everybody, today we are going to talk about The Everlasting by Alix Harrow. The Everlasting is a standalone novel and comes out on October 28th. This was my first Alix Harrow book. They've written a lot of books, and after reading this, consider me an Alix Harrow fan. Basic plot. I will say I think it's good to go into this book somewhat blind, so I'm going to give a very general overview of the plot and not get anything too specific. The Everlasting refers to a person within their history called Una Everlasting or Sir Una Everlasting. Sort of like the myth of King Arthur that we know, which we know as a myth, within this world, this story of Sir Una Everlasting is true story in terms of how their kingdom sort of came to be. Their kingdom being what you can kind of equate to like a post-World War I or World War II England, let's say. The country has just had a war with a neighboring country, of which they've been at war with this country for a very long time. And because of this war, because of this sort of sense of nationalism that's happening within the country, the myth or the story of Sir Una Everlasting is sort of becoming even more and more popular. Our main character, whose name is Owen, he studies and sort of translates anything about Una Everlasting that has come from history. Una lived hundreds of years ago, if not maybe even 1,000 years ago. So Owen is a veteran of the war that's just been fought, but he's also a historian. He's, he's like a PhD guy. He's very book nerdy, but he gets called into the office of the general of the wars of which he just fought. And she stabs his hand. He bleeds on this book, and it transports him back in time to Una Everlasting's time. It's hard for me to find like a guy in popular media that is similar to Owen. I sort of picture him as Jonathan Bailey from Jurassic World, but nerdier and less sure of himself, and he calls himself a coward through this book. Now, Una Everlasting, picture Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones, and she's just this beast, giant knight, strong, powerful, has a huge sword, and is a hero. Owen gets plopped into towards the end of her story, and he must be the one to write down the story of Una Everlasting. For me, this book was very similar in the feels and the emotions of like Our Infinite Fates, but paired with kind of the writing style of Rebecca Ross. It's very lyrical. It's very beautiful. You have to be paying attention. And the bulk majority of the story is actually written in second person, which you don't often see in books. And I know some people might be going, ugh, not a second person POV book, but it works for this one. It was a feat, and Alix Harrow accomplished that feat. So it did take me a couple chapters to sort of get into the style of the writing and how this journey was going to be told, but once I did, I could not put this book down. And this is a standalone book, clocking it at only 306 pages. It's pretty short. This is going to sound weird because it's going to sound like a negative thing, and I don't mean it. This reads like a 600-page book, but in a good way, meaning that Alix Harrow has just packed in a full and complete story with all the emotions in 306 pages. I don't feel like I've ever read a book like this book before, just from how different the characters were, with having Sir Una be this big, epic knight woman, and then having the male main character be smaller and more demure and more cowardly. I think there's a lot of people who wouldn't like that sort of change up of, what we normally see, and I loved it personally. I'm a sucker for anything time travel based, which I did not know that was going to be an aspect of it when I started reading it. So when that happened, I went like, holy cow. I was like, I'm locked in. If you've ever heard the saying, history is written by the victors, that's kind of what this book is about. How this myth and this legend of this person has been built up and twisted to fit whatever means the government or society needed it to be, to sort of rally this sense of nationalism within its people to then get them to go fight wars against other nations that shouldn't be fighting wars against. And how when you go back in time and you're actually around this person that is the thing of legends, how she's just a woman just trying to survive. I highly encourage everyone to pick it up and give it a read. I feel like anyone who's fans of Alix Harrow already doesn't need their arms twisted on that one because they know what a brilliant author they are. But if you've never read a book by this author, then You gotta read it. And I'll tell you what, like Starling House is sitting upstairs. I plan to start reading it very soon because I want to read everything this author has written. And I'm really excited because one of the book box companies is doing a special edition of it as their November book, I believe. I'm very excited to get it in. I can't wait to see what my special edition copy is gonna look like. So yeah, obviously after watching that, I'm recommending The Everlasting by Alix E. Harrow, which I gave 5 stars to. Once again, it comes out October 28th. If you've already read it or you've read any of Alix E. Harrow's other work, I would love to hear all about your thoughts and which ones I should read, which ones I should start with. I'm starting with Starling House. What I should read after Starling House. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.